My name is Paul Birkett. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Automation Finance. I've been running this company since 2014, and in that period we have closed 3 funds, all of which were funded by institutional investors. The return to those institutional investors has been 21.5%, but past performance is no guide to future performance. I'm here today to answer some questions that we get all the time from prospective investors who then become actual investors. Why do we say up to 8% in our prospectus? That's a great question. The reason is because although we've produced more than twice that amount in the past, there's no way to know what will happen in the future. There are no safe investments. Even holding cash, you risk the purchasing power of that cash being eroded by inflation over time. So we say up to 8% because it is our intention to pay 8%. Since 2014, we have never missed an interest payment and we've never lost $1 of principal, but we can't guarantee that that will be the case forever. Do you really pay monthly dividends? Yes, we do pay monthly dividends. We've built a back-end technology system that allows us to make distributions every month. So each month we will take the funds in our account and send 1/12 of 8% times whatever funds you've invested to your bank account. We send it either by check or by ACH. And again, the fact that we've paid them in the past doesn't mean that we will always be able to pay them. It's important that you read our full prospectus. But in the 7 years that we've been doing this, we have yet to miss an interest payment or lose any capital. How do you make money if you charge no fees? And that's also a great question. I started this business because when I looked at my own retirement account, I found that the brokers who sold me the investment products were charging 1% fee. And it wasn't just 1% fee once, it's 1% every single year. So over a 30-year investment horizon, I was paying 30% in fees. We make money because we make a profit in excess of the 8% that we pay to our investors. Brokers are not in the business of doing investments. They are pairing up investments with investment operators. We are the investment operator. We're soliciting directly for investors. So there is no fee requirement. We make money as an operating business operating the fund that buys these assets. What exactly is my security? So this is a question we get asked a lot because our business is an alternative asset. It's not as easy to understand as a stock or a bond. So I'll explain to you exactly what we do. We go to a bank and that bank will have loans on its portfolio, mortgage loans. So the loan is secured on someone's home and that person is not paying. We typically buy that loan at about 60% of the value of the house. So we don't own the house, we own the mortgage on the house. We then work with the borrower to get the borrower to start paying again. And because we've bought it at such a big discount, we're able to forgive past due payments, reduce their interest rate, even extend the term of the loan to get to a payment that they can afford. Typically that payment is about 80% of what they would be paying if they were just renting that house. So it makes a lot of sense for them to keep paying. We use that cash to pay our investors. We can also resell the loan once it's re-performing. That's why the fund is called Reperformance Fund, because the loans used to perform, they stopped performing for some period of time, usually because of job loss, and now we've made them re-perform again. So your security is a preference share in an entity that owns mortgages secured by properties. What does best efforts liquidity mean? Well, one of the features of many investment products is they have a fixed term. And indeed, our funds all have a fixed term too. It's 5 years. However, we offer best efforts liquidity. That means if an investor wants to leave before year 5, we will work with them to do so. So for example, an investor has invested, let's say $50,000. They decide after a year or two that they need $20,000 back to buy a house or for whatever they need the money for. They will give us notice that they want a partial redemption of $20,000. We will then repurchase those membership interests, assuming we have the cash to do so. Why do I say fast track your retirement? Well, a lot of our investors are retirees. Not everyone, about half of them in fact, are retirees, and half of them are people who have cash often sitting around that they don't have any particular use for in the short term. And so we say fast track your retirement because if you compare what you're earning in the bank on the funds that you have on deposit, it may be less than 1%. Our fund pays up to 8%. If you multiply that out over the term of the investment, in a bank you'll have earned about 5%. In our fund you'll have earned almost 50%, assuming that you reinvest the dividends every month. You've got two options. You can either take a distribution every month, in other words, we send you a check, or you can reinvest those dividends and compound your earnings on that interest payment too. How are we keeping Americans in their homes? One of our missions is a social mission. People often fall behind on their mortgages through no fault of their own. Maybe they get sick, maybe their significant other loses their job, or indeed they lose their job, and they fall behind on their payments. That can be a tough predicament for people to get back out of, because once you've missed 5 or 6 payments of maybe $1,000 each, you're $5,000 behind, and it's very hard to catch up. So what we do is we work with the homeowner to often forgive those missed payments, just to get them back on track. And so that means that instead of the homeowner facing foreclosure and the loss of their home, they can stay in the home with a reduced mortgage payment. So far, we've saved about 2,000 people from potential homelessness and foreclosure. And we're very proud of that track record. With your help and with the additional funds that we're raising, we'll be able to extend that help to many thousands more in the future. Why do you talk so funny? Well, that's a very nice question. The reason I talk so funny is because I'm from Ireland. I came here in 2010. I was working at a big US corporation and I got moved here in 2010 and left that famous soda company and started this business in 2014. And so there's 32 of us now. I'm the only Irishman, so it can be quite lonely, but we have many Americans and many people from other parts of the world. We're operating out of an unglamorous but inexpensive office in downtown Manhattan, and we work away every day raising funds, buying mortgages and saving people from foreclosure, and then generating returns for our investors. So I'm sorry you have to endure this accent. I guess I'll always sound like this. What do you mean you put the investor first? Well, it means two things. It means firstly, we don't charge any investment fees. And secondly, any funds that come in go first to the investor's 8% preferred return, then to the investor's capital, before Automation Finance makes a profit.